Cut? Uncut? Let's throw some of this brown culture in here. Welcome back to Brown Mundays. I'm your host, Umar.
I'm Amit.
I'm Anish.
And today we're kind of going to talk about how we are as fathers. So wait, first of all, let's talk about how we're doing today.
I'm good, man. Fatherhood is interesting.
What about you, Anish?
Well, we just got our first round of shots today, so it's been a day.
And I just came back from work.
At the farm. Umar's wearing a get-up right now with some overalls. I can see his underwear through his pants.
Yeah.
So
No, but he's still rocking the gold, though. So
he's still rocking the gold, though.
Yeah.
So it's all right.
Look, I just came back from choring, all right? So sometimes when you're at the farm, you gotta, plow, you gotta use those hoes.
Gotta still look good doing it, right?
That's all it is, like being a hipster farmer these days.
Hey.
So let's go into the stages of fatherhood that we're in right now. So let's start with Anish. Anish, what stage of fatherhood are you in right now?
Yeah, we're in the newborn phase. My son is 2 months old just a few days ago. So like I said, we just got shots today, and it's been a hell of a ride so far.
What about you, Amit?
26 weeks. Do that math. 6 months. You'll get really good at the weeks. Trust me.
Wait, my wife is like 24 weeks right now, so a little less than that,
I practice this.
We're Brown, we should know this.
Yeah.
We should be able to do quick math, right? Yeah.
But yeah, she's currently in the pregnancy phase right now. But yeah, like I'm kind of scared and like stuff like that. But were you guys scared knowing that you're going to be fathers, or like, take me through your thought process on like, did you want to be a father?
Yeah, I knew I was going to be a father eventually. I mean, me and Lolita, I remember us talking, like, if she didn't want to have kids, I was okay with that. But she definitely did want to have kids, so I'm like, let's do it. I remember being nervous, for sure, but not scared, which actually did scare me that I wasn't. Because a lot of expecting fathers are scared. But I just kind of looked at it as like, what's going to happen is going to happen. And I'm sure that, like, I will prepare myself. And be ready for whatever gets thrown at me. So.
Yeah, what about you, Anish?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'm becoming a first-time father, kind of not late in life, but I'm a little older. I'm in my 30s. So I think it's different. I think a scared father will be kind of when you're unprepared for it, possibly. Me and Ishani have been thinking about that for a while, and our careers are at a point where we're kind of stable. We have a house and all that stuff. So that's kind of, we're just going with the flow, pretty much.
Yeah, me and my wife, we kind of talked about it. I was like, I'm scared, but I also always wanted to be a father. So I told her, whenever you're ready, I'm ready. When I said that, I was like, but am I ready?
You're not.
Well, yeah, you never are. And even after you become a father, you're never ready for the next week after that. You're never ready for the next month after that. So you're never going to be ready ever, I don't think.
Right.
Do you take it like day by day, hour by hour, like
minute by minute?
Minute by
Minute by minute.
I mean,
the acuity of
you
being
can
a
cut
father.
it down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll give you an example. So right now, my wife's on maternity leave, so she's full-time at home, and it is an every minute kind of thing. It's like you'll spend an hour trying to get him to sleep, and he'll sleep, and it'll be like the best 5 minutes of your life, and then you start all over again. And so when I get home from work, I'm back at work. You have to take over, and it's like I haven't gone to the gym in 2 months. I haven't mowed the lawn. Nothing. It's just baby as soon as you get home. So that's it's a minute-to-minute thing.
I haven't gone to the gym in years, so I can't really take that. I can't really make that excuse, but that I haven't.
Bro, I gotta get my reps in. Like, how am I not gonna reps in with this baby?
It's gonna be bottle, mouth.
Yeah.
That's the reps.
Yeah.
All right, gotta get a 30-pound bottle.
Actually, you should. He will get that heavy, so start now.
So, like, talk me through like how it was for your wife. Like during these stages in her life, like throughout pregnancy. I know like a lot of women have it differently, obviously.
Yeah.
I can't speak on the women's behalf, but I can surely speak on our behalf.
Yeah.
How do we support them during these phases? Like, was pregnancy tough, or is it now tougher for you to support your wife during these stages?
Now, after birth, for sure.
Okay.
Was definitely more taxing to help her, especially right after they give birth. Their hormones are dysregulated, so postpartum is definitely a thing. Postpartum depression or just mood changes, it's definitely a thing. So I think, and Lolita will tell you that I think she was really glad that I was there, to have, your husband there, because whenever they're, not feeling so hot, you kind of have to be there to kind of be their rock. So, yeah, you're essential.
Sometimes I don't want to get off the couch. She's like, "Can you get this for me?" And I'm like, "Damn."
Oh, man, dude.
She probably has it worse than me.
That's all day. That's all day.
I'm like,
No,
you really gotta do this? How do you feel?
I mean, I think like pregnancy is hard when you're at pregnancy, and then when you like Amit was saying, when you have the baby, you're like, oh, can we go back to that? That was kind of
exactly. It's all relative.
It's different battles, right? So, like for example, in pregnancy, like your life is changing, you can't do everything you used to do. Your wife will be slower at everything, but you want to try your best to help as much as you can, which we should be happy to do. But at least you still kind of have your life. You can choose to go to the gym, your wife will be okay, you can cook, you can go out to dinner and stuff like that. But when you have the baby, now it's like, okay, do we have frozen pizza in the fridge?
Yeah.
Can we eat that tonight so nobody can, everybody can be with the baby and you can't really go out like you used to and things like that. And I think that'll change.
Yeah.
But that's kind of some of the tough parts about it.
Bro, I'm gonna install a squat rack in my garage. That's gonna happen. Between naps, I'm gonna do some squats.
You let me know if you have the energy. Let me know.
Yeah, it'll be a good clothes hanger.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to be super optimistic about this. I know you guys are,
It's okay.
Let me all of your experience and let me know. So let's go back to like the delivery. Do you think that was it a good delivery? Was it bad delivery? What part did you play in this whole process?
I mean, I was there, but I thought I was gonna get screamed at and cussed at maybe even, but like nothing like that happened. She was like a pro. We also had a doula help us out and all that, but no, delivery was not as crazy as I thought it was gonna be. And it was crazy because that was the biggest thing that I was worried about. I was like, oh, afterwards, it's all good. And complete opposite. So, I was stupid. So.
Yeah. In our case, we had a little bit of a different scenario. So, we went in for delivery and it's a waiting game, right? When is it the right time? When does he want to come? When is, the wife ready? And then in the end, after so many hours, we decided to get a C-section. It was just safer, and the moms get really tired, and so luckily it worked out really nicely for us, and even the doctor commended us for having a pretty sound decision on that, which, it's great when the doctor's like, you know what, that was a good idea. And that just made us feel better. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
Like a C-section is considered a major surgery at that point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, like it's really tough, I think, especially being in that position, even as a woman, like you're trying to help make that decision for her and with her at that moment. It's like kind of a joint kind of decision. And like, do you feel that like you guys made that sound decision like properly and everything like that? It's really tough, especially in the moment too.
I actually, you know what? Now that you say that, I was kind of scared about that kind of decision.
Yeah.
That what if I think something and my wife thinks differently, or what if the opposite? But luckily, we were like kind of on the same page, and I think in the end, what we really wanted to make sure was that it's all about the baby, right? Yeah. Is the baby safe? Is the baby healthy? That's all that really matters. So whether it's a natural C-section with or without Pitocin, for me, it didn't really matter as long as the baby was healthy.
Okay. I should also mention, like, what kind of babies do we have right now? Is it a boy? Is it a girl?
Boy.
Boy dad.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna be a boy dad too.
There you go, boys club.
So that reckons the question. Cut? Uncut? Let's throw some of this brown culture in here. All right.
So uncut. It was crazy because I was considering both and was reading up a lot on it. And honestly, I found a lot of information out there that says there's really no reason for it. Other than just cultural things. I mean there are some, I think, health benefits, but I think in my mind it kind of seems like mutilation. So I was like, you know what, I think we'll pass. Yeah.
I mean, uncut as well. I just honestly, that was the least of my worries. When they said it, when they asked us, I think like I didn't even look at her. I was like, no, and my wife said no as well.
Yeah.
And I think. Echoing what you're saying, I just don't really think it matters. I think, on a side note though, that if you're born with something, then it likely has a function.
Absolutely.
Even if
hell yeah, it has a function.
But and I mean, if the whole point of it is that it's cleaner, well then wash your shit.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You nasty.
Yeah. Let's promote hygiene instead.
No dick cheese here. No phimosis. None of that shit.
Yeah,
Wash
let's
it.
promote hygiene.
Yeah, my kid's gonna be uncut too. All right, this
Yeah.
is this the whole vision of like cutting and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
all anglicized white people shit. You know, like
Yeah.
that. We got to keep our shit nice and uncut. So many nerves and senses there. You know,
Right.
like I want my boy to like having sex when he grows up. You know, like actually enjoy that shit and not get chafed by his genes. If he decides to go commando.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So like that's what I'm like this whole topic of like Americans being like, oh no, I was even talking to some people too. They're like, oh, your son's gonna be uncircumcised, and I'm like, yeah, you should probably read up on it and how that's like
Yeah.
just you're right, just keep that shit
Yeah.
clean.
Just keep it clean.
It's a foreign subject here, it really is. So I guess I'm not really shocked that you would get questions like that because it's so ubiquitous, right? It's like everyone's always cut, so it's yeah. But I think it's coming back. I think the whole uncut notion is coming back.
kind of like just like everything, right? Like all of a sudden, everybody's vegetarian now.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
stops drinking, and now nobody's gonna cut their foreskin anymore.
Right,
It's just
exactly.
another thing,
We're living the hippie life right now. the vegan hippie life. So when you're talking about like the cut and uncut and all that stuff like that, I've always had these topics of like, what struggles kind of have you had growing up as a father? Like so far as a young father right now, are there any like struggles that you've had, or is it mostly just like pertaining to your wife and like just kind of helping the baby out?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, I honestly haven't faced anything too significant in terms of like, a struggle or anything. I think honestly right now I'm just focused on taking care of him, taking care of her, making sure that I'm doing everything that I think I'm supposed to be doing. So honestly, don't think there's any time for anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as far as struggles, I don't think anything is major.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have healthy babies, and that's a big thing. Like, if you have a healthy baby,
Right.
It's much better. Yeah. But I think, not to downplay, just the change in your relationship can be kind of hard sometimes. For me at least, I'm battling between becoming the father that I want to be and staying the husband that I used to be. And that balance is kind of interesting sometimes, right? Because you still want to do the fun stuff you used to do with your wife, and socialize and all that kind of stuff, but you still need to kind of change that to be the father that you want to be, right?
So if you have like your in-laws over or something like that, then we'll have date night, kind of like like that, or like kind of like a lot of people say like the spark in the relationship dies through marriage and stuff like that. I don't believe in that.
No, I don't know. I think it shifts. I think the spark shifts from each other to this child. And sometimes that spark is there. Sometimes you're just like, oh, just go to sleep. But it's, I mean, that's just the way it is. So, I mean, but he wakes up and he smiles at you and you're like, oh, shit, that's okay. Yeah. It's all right.
Exactly.
So.
I think he's right. I think it's up to us to keep the spark of the relationship, but it does change.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think you start doing things with your child together, and then you just have a different kind of spark.
Yeah.
Right, like you're experiencing the joy of your child, but also like the joy of being with each other and your child.
Right.
So like, and even then, like if you're lucky enough to have your in-laws, like some people don't have their in-laws to come and take care of their child. Like if you're lucky enough to have that, then you can kind of socialize. Like my mom was telling me, she's like, once the baby is born, travel all you want.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I'm young, I can take care of the baby.
Right.
But she's like, I kind of want to do it this young, so like I can take care of the baby, and you can also do what you want to do in your life.
Right.
Like if you want to travel, if you want to go to this place, and you're gonna like do this. Like, If you want to hang out with Pooja and go like on a date night, like. I'm gonna be there, like that's the support system is kind of what you really need.
I think that's definitely good, but I think you're expecting right now, and I think once you have the kid, your mind is gonna be like go from vacationing without him to all I want to do is everything with him, or in this case him.
No, it really does turn out to be that way because honestly, even when we're out, if we're out without him, like we're thinking about him constantly. So, and to your point about the parents, like. I'm also really lucky in that, like, I have my parents to help as well. And, I think that's something that's actually really foreign in our culture here, American culture. It's not the multi-generational, household or the multi-generational family being very close is not that common. Everyone lives in their separate houses, and And to a certain extent, that's important. It's important to have your own space. That should also be said, but it really does help to have help. Like, it really does take a village, you know, to use like a really common term, but it really does for kids.
Right. So like that being said, like the village and everything like that, do you think it's important to have like a brown community around us, or do you think it's like any community is significant, or do you think that specifically our culture and everything like that kind of like, you know, puts us in a good position to be successful in that aspect?
Yeah, I do think having a brown community is important, but I also think, I mean, we live in America, right? So I also want my child to have exposure to, you know, every color community. Right. If my son's going to be a well-rounded person that's suited to live in this country, so that's my take.
So you're saying all lives matter? No.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I want my child to be exposed to everything, everyone in every walk of life.
Yeah. And I kind of had this conversation with my mom that, you know, to have the expectation that our kids in this generation with where they live, where they were born, to just live exactly how we did. And we already kind of went away from the tradition, right? We're a little bit of both. But I already expect that my son's probably going to be even a little bit more different than that, right? Absolutely. And that's okay, because there's going to be a blend of cultures. Exactly. And I kind of told my mom, like, be ready for that. And fortunately, she was like, yeah, I get it.
Right. You know? Like, I think we're the sandwich generation, right? We're generation one. Mm-hmm. We had equal amounts of culture from back home, and we had to contend with, you know, the culture here, and we were kind of stuck in the middle, and we kind of had to blend these the best we could, while still remaining true to each one in our own way. Right. So I think that as our generations move forward, it's going to become more and more muddled. And I mean, for the better, I think. They are really going to be one with their community. They won't feel that disconnect, I think, that we kind of felt as kids. Like, you know, we had like this life, and then we had the other life. I don't think if we do it right, I don't think they'll feel that.
That's actually a really good point, because I still want my son to like know our culture and know our history.
Absolutely.
And you know, whoever he's with, or you know, his future partner, whatever, I hope that just kind of blends really easly. Exactly. That'd be great. I mean, that's the goal, I feel like.
It is a goal.
For him, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So like we're talking about like how do the values that our parents teach us are kind of like, how are they going to help like us move forward? So we kind of talked about how like we were like a melding of cultures, like being first generation here and having kind of separate lives, little like here and little there. Yeah. But like, what values do we want to instill from our parents that we've had, and kind of instill that into our children? You know, that's a little bit tough, because we're more of the American mindset, I want to say, but also we have that those Indian values still instilled in us. Yeah. So we still want to keep that, but like disciplining our children, like that's something our parents did a lot. Like, how do you guys feel about disciplining a child? I
mean, to speak to your earlier point, like as far as what values that our parents had that I definitely want to make sure it gets passed down, it's like the trailblazer attitude. Like our parents came to this country not knowing the language, not knowing anything, and they were like, yeah, well, I think we'll stay here. Yeah. You know? I was like, wow. Like, can you imagine us right now just upping and leaving, going to a foreign country where we don't know the customs, don't know the language, and like setting up shop? Right. I don't think I could do it. Right. And that's something that I wish that somehow I can instill into Arjun. So. Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because like it's about knowing your history, like where you're from, so that you know where you're going. You know, and you should. I mean, I hope they take pride in where we came from, because it is a big deal for them to just up and leave pretty much in their 20s or whatever it had been, and they made it. You know, we're here on a podcast in America.
Exactly.
The best freaking podcast on YouTube, all right? And Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. Right. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm like, but I think the thing that really helped me growing up was kind of being around my cousins. So I lived in a community where like my cousins were 6 houses away, and my other cousins weren't too far away, like a drive away. So I think being around like family and everything like that kind of helps you grow into like we can talk and kind of communicate, and also grow up together in this environment. And like you said, it takes a village to do that. And then like my parents and my aunts and uncles and everything like that, they've kind of helped and shaped me in ways too. So like going into like, whether it be like dance or anything like that, or like Bhangra or anything, or like specifically just doing the AC stuff, like going around, going to Holy, going to all these events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like those are really a significant pillar in developing me and growing my personality to be what it is today.
Yeah. You know, I think that's what makes our personalities the way they are, because we had to, you know, kind of meld both of those together, and we kind of had to, you know, be one person one day and be another person the next, and we had to kind of juggle those and, you know, find ourselves in between. And so yeah, I think our personalities are the way they are because of, you know, how we grew up.
Yeah, I grew up, I didn't have a lot of cousins right near me or anything, but we had a big group, like a big Indian community. You know, it's like parents doing what our parents did, what we're doing now. You know, it's like they got together, they hung out, and their kids ran around the house and did whatever they did. And so that's like very normal to me. And so in my mind, when we all have kids and they start coming and getting together, I just assume my house is gonna be a madhouse. Right. Kids running around. But I agree, that's my core memories.
Yeah.
And how I grew up and how I think about things, and you know, and a lot of the thought process is very similar between those people. So that kind of becomes the culture.
Right.
You know.
Right. On a drunken night one night, I told my cousin sister, like her husband, so my brother-in-law, I told him, like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to come down to Tampa and so our kids can grow up together.
Right.
And I fucking meant it, all right?
Yeah.
My kid's not gonna grow up like without knowing his family and everything like that too. But also, he has a family with us too, so like it's not like he doesn't have a family, but I'm like, just want to flourish in that environment and kind of learn from each other.
Yeah.
Like kind of like how we learn from each other growing up too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
followers had some questions submitted, if you don't mind us asking.
All right.
Which positions do you believe is best to conceive?
so if you didn't hear that, one of the people asked, what position is the best to conceive in?
The most enjoyable one.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, her feet gotta be up, you gotta be down, and you just gotta, you know,
I think there's a classic song about that. I think his name was
singing it for us.
Was it Ludacris?
Because I'm like, then you gotta stay there, you know, for a little bit. Make sure it just goes all in. You're like, are you good?
Move.
Yeah.
Do you feel nauseous? Because you're not supposed to feel nauseous just yet.
There's a dissolvable over.
But I'm like, hey, whatever's the most enjoyable and whatever works, you know. You'll find out later if it worked or not.
Try them all. You'll figure out later.
Right.
You should have fun while doing it.
Well, you should. You should.
Like, that's
Found out the child was yours.
Oh shit.
Was it what?
What if you found out the child wasn't yours?
Oh man, we going on Mari.
Make some money.
Be like, wait a second. Am I the side piece? Or am I the main one?
There would be some problems, to say the least.
That'd be pretty tough.
I thought this was a monogamous relationship.
Right.
If it was polyamorous, then let me know beforehand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What if your child decides to be gay?
What if our child decides to be gay?
I mean, is it really a
Is it a
decision?
decision?
But I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that like, I think we should maybe expect some of these things, you know?
I mean, he's my kid. He's always going to be my kid.
Exactly.
So,
Gay kid?
yeah.
No, I mean, that's true. Like, I know a few gay Indian people, like men who have come out and they've been supported in the community. I'm like, this is good. This is good for our fucking community.
And that's now. I mean, think about, like, maybe now as adults they are, right? I mean, if while they were younger, I mean, it's really hard.
And look, the more gay Indians there are, the more chance Nikesh has with the girl.
Also, it's not like being gay is new. You know,
No,
it's just
been
it was
around.
not accepted as much, and so people hid it.
Yeah.
People were always
Exactly.
gay.
So now it's cool to be gay?
Maybe.
It's fine to be gay.
If you're gay, it's okay.
It's okay.
What if your child wants a transition?
Oh.
He's gonna have to fund that himself or
No,
herself.
yeah, no,
or itself. I don't know.
What if your child wants to transition?
No.
No.
I mean, he's a child. He's a child. So.
Oh, you're saying while he's a child?
Yeah.
Oh no.
No.
Look, you gotta think about that decision and they're gonna think about all the estrogen it's gonna take.
I know.
And all those surgeries. And if you still want to go through it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'll be right there.
There's a pretty good video. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's this dad and his son, and he puts a couple things in front of him. He said,
Yeah.
"Here's 4 Oreos, and here's $100. You can only have one.
I saw that.
Which one
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you want?" And he picked
Yeah,
the
yeah.
4
He
Oreos. And
picks
he's like,
the
"This is
Oreo.
why you can't let him
It's
choose
proof-
right now.
Right, exactly.
Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
later,
It's-
but right now he wants 4 Oreos over $100.
Right, right.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
You know.
So
Are they double stuffed Oreos? I don't even like chocolate. Why am I saying this?
Also, I don't have enough money for that shit anyway.
no, I don't. They're it's pretty expensive.
It's got to be a significant decision.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't think our brown community is ready for that yet. I think it's still
Yeah.
stigmatized in that aspect.
Are we still talking about kids? No. I don't think any community is ready for. I mean, kids. No. If you're an adult, sure.
Yeah, adult is different, right?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think you can. What if the kid changes his mind?
That's
So if he's 18 and
risk.
he's like, I want to transition.
Well, that's 18. That's adult,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And
I can't
you
do anything about that.
He or she can go get a job and
I
get
might
it done.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I might have my own opinion, but
Yeah.
I mean, at that point,
right. That's true.
yeah.
What's the dynamic with the in-laws and their involvement? Are they helpful?
Oh.
That's a good one.
Yes. So, for me, they're my parents. They're her in-laws. And for me, I have in-laws in town as well. But yeah, I mean, honestly, you kind of find out who your parents are once you become parents too. And it's really helpful to have them, yet you also realize things that you would do differently. So it's actually, you're almost meeting your parents all over again, I think. In a different lens. That's how I see it. And there's good things to that. There's bad things to that. But at the end of the day, it's like we're so grateful to have them because it is family. But yeah, I mean, everyone has their own personalities, and sometimes they butt heads sometimes.
Specific examples?
I don't know. Let me think.
They butt heads about what clothes to wear, like what.
Well, I
things
think
to do?
No.
I think for
Topics.
example,
It's not. Yeah.
I think for example, especially in your phase right now, right? The in-laws and the parents are super excited. They have all these plans before the baby's even born. They have all these opinions before the baby's even born, and you may not agree with some of them. You may agree with some. So that kind of gets almost kind of nerve-wracking because then it's like you're at the hospital, the baby's like rolling in and everybody's like there, and it's like this moment of awe, but then everybody kind of starts chipping in a little bit or chiming in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then over time, fortunately for me, it all kind of settled out. And
Yeah.
like you said, you start meeting the parents turning into the grandparents who
Yeah.
are different people than your parents.
Exactly.
Because what they did to you, they're not going to do to them.
You're like, I'm a grandparent now. I can do whatever I want.
Right. And because there's certain things that it's hard to iron out, like, oh, these are the rules, because if I'm not home, they're gonna do what they think is best, which I want them to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, there might be small things that you might disagree on, but that's just a trade-off. Everything's always a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
So in our case, I'm really grateful to have my parents to be able to take care of them. So currently we don't have to do daycare, but that's a trade-off, and sometimes you might not exactly get to dictate while you're gone exactly what happens. Daycare person probably has to listen to you. Parents don't.
Yep.
So
I was a daycare kid. Look how I turned out.
yeah. So I mean, yeah. But yeah, I mean, no major. You really do have to. You have to have a bigger heart, I guess, and they have to too, right? Because they're looking at you now, trying to tell them what to do, and it's like, I raised you, didn't I? So it's like, that's. So that's that's the dynamic.
I think fortunately in my case, initially I felt like that might have been the case. That it was going to be like a whole banter back and forth. But recently it's kind of been like, oh, that's what you think? All right, cool.
Yeah.
And it's great, and I'm not always right. Sometimes I realize they were right and I listen to them. So.
A lot of the times, honestly, it's nice to have that guidance, because as new parents, you will freak out at every little thing the first time that it happens. And it's nice to have someone be there to be like, it's probably not a big deal. That's nice to have.
Yeah.
People don't talk about how hard it is to get pregnant. Do you wish someone told you that when you were a teenager?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because according, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, if my jizz is just near her, we're gonna get pregnant. You know, and that is not the case at all. Like,
Use separate toilets.
yeah, use separate toilets.
Hot tub jizz theory.
Yeah,
If you're in the hot tub and your spunk comes out.
yeah, and it's like that's just like you know, I don't know what it is, but it you know, it can take some time. For some people, it does. Some people, it does.
Yeah.
In our case, you know, we were kind of casual about it. Like we were about 6 years married until we started trying, you know, openly trying for a kid. We weren't super serious about it. We were just like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then, you know, 1 year went by and it didn't happen. We're like, okay, maybe we need to do something else.
Right.
We changed positions.
Yeah.
No, anyway, but
No more doggy.
Sometimes it does, you know, take a little bit extra effort,
Yeah.
a little extra thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, to answer your question, I don't think if someone had told me that while I was a teenager, I don't think I would have cared. I'd be like, what? I'd be like, I'm not there yet. Like,
Right.
I'm just trying to find.
Bro, I didn't reach my glow up phase yet, so I wasn't really getting many girls at that point. So I was like,
Same.
I'm like, just
Right.
let me talk to one girl first.
I was like,
Yeah.
can I just kiss a girl, please?
if I hold her hand, am I gonna come?
That definitely happened to me.
How to change pants, okay? but like for real, like I think the thing is like me and Bojack are really lucky. Like we kind of planned it out. We kind of phased and I was like, this is the time, and we got it on our first time. But I understand it's a struggle for a lot
can be.
of
I think it's more
parents.
common than people think.
Yeah,
It really
I
is.
don't think people should go into it expecting it's going to happen on the first time.
No.
And it's like what happens on social media. You only see the good news. You
Exactly.
never see
Right.
all the
You never
trial
see
and errors behind
Exactly.
the scenes.
You don't see the sex tape behind it.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's more common than people think, and you just gotta stay optimistic.
Yeah. And find help if you need it.
Yeah.
Right. And then finally, do you guys have any regrets in your life that you want to improve in your child's life?
Honestly, I regret not being a more confident child. I feel like I'm sufficiently, confident now, but that all happened, I would say, within the last 10 or 15 years. Not a very confident child at all. And I don't know really what the ins and outs are for what caused that, but I think I definitely want it to be different for Arjun. Like I want him to try out for sports. I want him to think that he can do things that other kids are doing and not think of himself as like, oh, that's something they're doing, but I can't do that.
Right.
I would say that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah, I kind of think similarly that I didn't always have the opportunity to do things that my counterparts in school were doing. They were going on vacation or this and that. I remember specifically, I was a fellow at that time, and it was a bunch of us talking, and the doctor was asking like, oh, what's your favorite experience in whatever it be, like a learning experience, whatever it is. And all these kids were talking about how they went to Bali and here and there, and I was like, summer camp was cool, Florida, and so I just didn't have that, and that's okay, but I just want that for my child,
absolutely.
And so I want to have great experiences.
Yeah, I believe in extracurriculars and also everything too, because like we didn't really have much of that growing. It was always like school. But like my parents didn't realize, oh, you like this college is what you need to go to if you want to be in this school. They're just like, no, I want to keep you close to home.
Right.
So I'm like, I never really got to venture out and stuff like that when I was younger, and I was like, maybe that hindered me, maybe that helped me.
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea, but I want my son to experience that in the future.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, it's been a great conversation. Unfortunately, we're kind of out of time. All right. But, well, if you guys want to hear more about Amit and Anish, just let us know in the comments down below. We'll be back every Monday we post. So make sure you follow us on every platform. Jonathan will post a link below of everywhere. Thanks for joining us at Brown Mondays. I'm Amar.
I'm Amit.
And I'm Anish.
Catch you guys later. Peace.